just for you on that final play, what did you see on it that you thought you might be able to get the rip and get in there and get that steal?
Honestly, it was great team defense. Felt like we knew Booker wanted to take that last shot and played great defense on him and made him turn his back and turn right into me. So I guess it was just in the right place at the right time.
Is there anything in this series that you've seen like that spin from him that you knew like, hey, this might be like if Tuck can turn him, he's gonna come back this way? Like, was there anything like that? Because everyone's talked about how it's just like an instinctual play that like only Jrue could make. So I'm curious for you, like what led your instincts to that?
Nah, first I thought he was going to shoot it, and I was going to be behind him to try to contest and maybe try to bother him. But once he pump faked, I just felt like I should stay down and literally turned into me. So, again, right place at the right time.
Malika?
Jrue, Giannis told us that for him, watching that block that was so big against DeAndre, and that's not something that he was interested in doing because it was living in the past, not looking forward. I'm wondering what your philosophy is. Are you going to go back and are you going to watch that steal that you had, or are you already kind of looking towards what you need to do in Game 6, or is it both?
I'm going to go back and watch the game. It's not going to be particularly that play. But I think going back, watching the game, learning things that we can do better. We had a pretty big lead for a while, and what we can do to kind of control the game a little bit better. Had a rough start, what we can do to not have that anymore. So, yeah, not particularly that play, but whatever we can do to get better for this next game.
And then for getting better for this next game, I mean, it's a lot of folks say that closeout games, whether it's in a series or the title, are the toughest to win. What do you do to prepare for that? How do you process that?
Just continually lock in. We felt like from after that second game, we knew that we'd get better and gradually get better, and we feel like we have every single game. We came into Phoenix and got a win, which is really hard. This is a tough place to play. The crowd is insane. So we really just got to lock in, not get too high, not get too low.
Over to Zoom for 2 questions.
Next question will be from Ramona Shelburne, followed by David Aldridge.
Hey, Jrue, how's it going? Hey, I'm just wondering, you know, we always talk about aggressiveness with you, and you get all sorts of questions about that. But who's in your ear, you know, in between these games, in between these in these series, telling you, you know, and how to manage that, how to manage, like, you know, your shot's not falling or it is falling. Who do you get advice from?
Everybody, my brothers, my wife, my parents. I think during the game, though, most of the time it's probably Vin Baker. Vin Baker's always in my ear, continuing to tell me to be aggressive, continuing to tell me to pick up full court and make it hard on Chris and Book, continuing to tell me that I'm the greatest. So, yeah, I give a lot of credit to him.
What's your dad say?
My dad thinks I'm the best player in the world, so he wants me to take more shots, which there are a lot of them that I do pass up, but take more shots. He just feels like I can do everything. Play 48 minutes. I don't need to come out. I don't need a break. But really, just be aggressive the whole game.
That's a good dad. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Jrue. After you rip Booker, I mean, you bring the ball up past midcourt. You know, most guys would have pulled it out, waited to get fouled in that situation. What got you to? I'm gonna throw this oop to Giannis.
Well, that's what I was going to do. And Chris, I think, kind of played in between, but Giannis took off and he was calling for the ball. So at that point, I just threw it as high as I could, and only where Giannis could go get it, and he went up there and got it.
Was there any part of you that thought, oh, I might have thrown it a little too high in that one?
Nah. He's I mean, they don't call him the freak for nothing. So I threw it as high as I could.
Brian to the left.
You guys were rolling so much offensively for the second and third quarter. does your mind ever wonder, okay, we might not have to really lock in today. We might actually win this game offensively. And then all of a sudden, when it does get close, is it hard to all of a sudden, make that kind of play when you haven't had to rely on it for the last, 15, 20 minutes?
No, I think we always have a hand, or our mind is always on defense. I feel like that's why we've got to this point now. We know that they have great scorers over there, and man, Book he's hitting some tough shots, and a lot of the times there's nothing you can do about it. So I do think that we always have our mindset on defense, but when we get rolling on both ends, I feel like that's kind of where we kind of get into our groove. You see Pat making big plays, Giannis in transition, Chris knocking down threes, Bobby flexing on people. So it's I feel like when we're in a groove like that, we kind of keep our heads on. Yes, offensively we're going, but defensively we still need to lock in.
Tim on the left.
Jrue, you've been consistent all the way through the playoffs that whenever you have an off shooting night, you're going to come back and do the same thing again. But was there anything different about today in terms of how you guys as a group got going, and in particular in that second quarter when you really kind of took control offensively?
No, I think it all started with stops. That first quarter, they came out hitting and they were hot. Crowd was into it. I feel like we got stops and started playing faster. It's a lot easier to play faster when the ball's not going through the hoop. So getting stops, getting down transition, just making plays, and that's how we like to play.
Rohan here on the right.
Jrue, speaking of your offense, obviously you had some ups and downs up until this game, and you had your best offensive game. When the shots are falling like they were tonight, did you feel a sense of relief to a degree at the beginning of the game, or does that thought not really cross your mind?
It doesn't really cross my mind. I feel like at the end of the day, whatever I can do to help my team is most important. I went 4 for 20 the game before, and we still won. I know that I can do other things to affect the game. So, but when my shot is going and I'm trying to make plays for others, it is definitely an added bonus.
Sam in the middle.
Jrue, about a minute left. Giannis misses those free throws. A few of you guys seem like you went and checked on him. I just wonder, is it to the point where even if he has a tough moment like that you don't question how locked in he's going to be? I mean, because that oop, obviously, he's got to be with you to complete that play. Yeah,
we definitely don't question how locked in he is. I think Monty did a good job of trying to ice him too. That first free throw he missed, and they called that timeout. And these timeouts are really, really long. But I think they just did a good job. But Giannis goes up there with confidence every time. You can see it in his face. So we definitely had confidence in him. I thought he was going to make both of them.
Jim?
Hey, Jrue. Going back to the second quarter, you guys are down 16 to start. Giannis is on the bench, 11-3 run. They call timeout. I mean, it's not often that Bud kind of decides Giannis can still sit here. What did that say to you guys, I guess, as that group of five as you're making that run to get back in the game?
We had it going. We had a groove and just continue to make things happen. I feel like we're playing for each other. And when you're out there doing that, I don't know, sometimes you have to just stick with the people that are out there. Yes, Giannis adding them back into that. I feel like that's where the lead really went up. But when you have guys out there making plays and doing all that, it's sometimes you just got to stay with it.
Paulo?
Hey, Jrue. You obviously put in a lot of work in the offseason, both on and off the court. And I'm curious, at this level, in this stage, are there things that happen during a game or things you find yourself doing that you can kind of trace back to something you added in the offseason or worked on that feels especially rewarding, especially in this stage?
Honestly, I think it's everything. I think offseason is one of the hardest times. It's where you push yourself. It's honestly where you push yourself to the limit to know how far you can go. And then getting to this point, I feel like it's kind of the reward. Being able to be on the stage at this time in front of these crowds and playing against this team. Yeah, man, it's definitely a blessing to be able to just be healthy and be out there and playing.
Ben to the left.
You mentioned Pat. He's been big the last couple games. Just how does his skill set kind of blend around you, Giannis, and Chris?
Yeah, he doesn't need much. He doesn't need the ball all the time. He knocks down open shots. He's gritty. He gets there into the paint and offensive rebounds, big defensive rebounds, and he's one of those role players that honestly is reliable, one of the most reliable that we have on our team. So Pat's been huge for us this whole year, and he'll continue to do that.
Final question from Eric.
You missed a chunk of time this year with COVID, right? And I'm curious for you. You mentioned like just the idea of being healthy and being able to do this right now. Like, does this feel like now you're playing 40 plus minutes? Paul Booker, when you first came back, you were talking about, hey, my stamina ain't right. Like, I'm not exactly where I need to be. Like, what does this kind of journey just feel like to be like, yeah, I can go 40 minutes and both those dudes, like, I got them.
I feel like now it's just, you got to get your all. Like, we're literally coming down to the last game or two. At this point, there's no excuses. As long as I don't foul out, I feel like I'm going to be out there on the court, and I'm going to give my all on both ends of the floor.
When Bud took you out early, what did that kind of do to you, just like from like a mentality standpoint? Because when you came back on the floor, you were obviously very aggressive, which can be tough, like when you have that early foul trouble and you get taken out early.
I just thought I needed to play smarter. I forget the first foul, but the second foul on Chris, really smart player. He does that where he coming off the screen and he just stops and falls. That's a foul. So honestly, just play smarter. But I know I'm going to be back in there soon. So when I go back in there, not to pick up my third quick, just really just try to be as smart as I can.
Thanks, Jrue.
Thanks.